Today, I would like to discuss whether engagement with the Taliban is a right approach or whether the soft diplomacy changed the mindset of Taliban towards its own people, to the regional countries and international community. So the past 1 year experience shows that the Taliban did not soften their position towards the Afghan people, giving the Afghan people the opportunity to be involved in the political and also social affairs of the country. On the top of that, they excluded the Afghan woman from the whole process. Even the women are barred from getting education, as it is known to the world that a human being could be a liability and also an assets when someone gets educated or get education. So education itself is a sort of assets. So you can put it, you can invest in it, and then you can get income. When you are not allowed to get education, then you definitely become a liability. A liability means that, in financial terms, that you have to pay for it. So therefore, when the Afghan women are not allowed for education, then they become a liability, and they will be all the time a burden for their families, for their friends, colleagues, and also for the Afghan society at all. So, uh, to be honest, the policy that the world has so far has put in place to push Taliban to accept the basics of human rights and also the civil rights that were not workable. So even some sanctions did not work, because the sanctions that we put on the Afghan government, led by Taliban, is directly uh, put pressure, more pressure on the Afghan people and Afghan civilians, rather, to the Taliban, because the Taliban, as the same as the uh, uh, North Korea, they established like Committee 39. They have their own businesses. As the North Korea, they have Taliban. They have also their own businesses. They have their money and assets in some of the Arab countries, and they have their own hotels, restaurants, and even uh, businesses in some of the Gulf countries. So if we wanna really push Taliban to accept the or be part of the engagement and the positive engagement with the world, we have to directly sanctions those elements and those entities that the Taliban benefit out of that or get benefited. So this is the only way that possible to sanction, because the sanction itself, uh, when we have an in general term, that not help the international community to push the governments or regimes to comply with the demands of the international community. For example, Iran, or maybe North Korea. For years there were sanctions, but did not work, because we have general sanctions, and these sanctions to be changed to the target sanction, that we have to directly target institutions, elements, and entities that are active for these groups. So the other option to push Taliban is to a sort of coercive, engage in coercive diplomacy. And to my mind, the coercive diplomacy is that we have to find like an alternative to the Taliban. Till now, the international community, they are not ready to engage with in a military form or in a strife with Taliban by providing an alternative to the Taliban. And now it is a time then when the Taliban are not ready to cooperate, then we have to think of an alternative, a democratic alternative. And that would be one of the way that we could push Taliban or force Taliban to engage in a positive cooperation. And then we have some other ways like that we could also provide opportunity for information influence operations, that we have to in a cyber way, that we have to provide enough information that to give the incitements to the actors or to the supporters of Taliban that their government or the leading or their elites are not benefiting the Afghan community. Then the other way that we could do it through the disruptive methods. So we have to put it forward as disruptive method, that we could have a couple of these, or we could provide a gap or provide some sort of cracks within their regime and within their supporters, and then we could support one against another. And then we also have to be ready for TTP, the tactical technical process or procedure that we have to employ, where we have to get some of their influential people and provide them with a possible infrastructure, with a possible assets that they work for us, and they give us the incitements and the information and what's really going on. So these are the measures that we could force Taliban to accept the international conditions, international principles. When they are not ready to accept it, then the only way possible is that which is the part of the coercive diplomacy, is the limited war. So we have to engage in a limited war. We have to destroy those elements who are against the international principles and rules, and against the laws and accepted ways of engaging with the international community. As far as I know, that all of the Taliban are not against these principles, but there are some of hardliners who are against that. So we have to find these hardliners, and through applying this limited war principles, find them and smoke them out and eliminate them or neutralize them. This is the only way that we could push Taliban to accept international way of standard and also the national engagement or the principle of engagement. Otherwise, if we let the Taliban move as they are moving, then that would be a disastrous situation, not only for the Afghan people, but for the international community. And Afghanistan will be again a hotbed for the extreme elements and also terrorist organizations who could destroy or disrupt peace, security, and international order. Thank you.